If we really want to understand the mess, we have to explore our role in the mess. The uncomfortable reality is that we're all participants in evil. We avoid acknowledging this by confining our conversations about evil to things that we think we would never do, or by avoiding the conversation altogether. But it's true. We participate in evil. Evil is defined as profoundly immoral. Have you ever done something that has negatively altered the course of your life or someone else's life? That's profoundly immoral. I've done it. I did it yesterday. I'll take great effort not to do it again today. Most of us participate in evil every day and are oblivious to it. The most common and insidious example is gossip. It is perhaps the everyday evil that has been most normalized. If you were planning to murder someone, I suspect you would have all types of anxious feelings leading up to that event. But if you murdered someone every day, how long would it take before you no longer had those feelings? Human beings can become desensitized to even the most horrific things. And we have become desensitized to how profoundly gossip affects everyone involved. Most of us don't think of ourselves as murderers, but it is so easy to murder someone's reputation with gossip. The power of speech is unfathomable. Gossip, it can never be undone. It is cruel, divisive, and demeaning. It alters the way people see another person forever. It robs the victim of dignity and opportunity. I'm ashamed that I have engaged in gossip about others. Even as I speak these words, I observe myself sterilizing the act, distancing myself from it with my choice of words, engaged. But I know I have harmed people by participating in this everyday evil. They may never know the harm I have caused them, but that doesn't make it less so. I know I caused harm to their reputations, and it is impossible for me to know the pain that I caused or the opportunities they were excluded from because of my gossip. I have also been the coward who sat silently and listened passively while other people assassinated someone's character. And I have been the fool who piled on when others were gossiping about a person, kicking a man while he was down. We have all been on the other side of this injustice too. You've suffered at the hands of gossip. I've suffered at the hands of gossip. I've been murdered 1,000 times by gossip. It's an occupational hazard for anyone whose work puts them under public scrutiny. But that doesn't make it easier. This is why I chose gossip as our example of everyday evil. Because I do not know a single person who hasn't been the perpetrator and the victim. We have all been on both sides of this evil. Gossip can destroy a person's reputation, affect the direction of their lives forever, and shatter their self-esteem. It can also lead to anxiety, depression, addiction, suicidal thoughts, and so many other outcomes that cannot be foreseen. The unintended consequences of our gossip are of a different magnitude than the intended consequences. The intended consequences are very often trivial, while the unintended consequences can be as serious as life and death. Let's look now at the harm gossip causes us. What does gossip do to us when we gossip? it hardens our hearts. You have to harden your heart toward another person in order to gossip about him or her. This hardening of the heart is an unavoidable prerequisite of gossip. But when we harden our heart toward one person, we harden our hearts toward all people, including ourselves. Gossip, therefore, leads us to become indifferent to another person's suffering. Indifferent to another person's suffering. This is just one way gossip dehumanizes us. Gossip attacks our own self-esteem. Pointing out the faults and imperfections of others only draws attention to our own faults and imperfections. How do you feel when you gossip? You are probably disgusted with yourself in that moment. Did you think more of yourself or less of yourself after gossiping? How do you think it made the person you were gossiping with feel about you? If you do something that causes you to think less of yourself, isn't it almost inevitable that others will also think less of you? Gossip is a destroyer of relationships. It breeds distrust and bitterness. People don't like people who gossip, and they don't trust people who gossip. Gossip promotes envy and division, and it will ultimately separate us from people. When we gossip, we're announcing to the world that we speak maliciously about others, that we are insecure or feel threatened, and that we can't be trusted. Gossip divides and destroys. Gossip plays havoc with our emotions. It breeds fear, anger, jealousy, paranoia, anxiety, depression, and even hatred. It also leads to loneliness, because knowing that we cannot be trusted leads us to think that others cannot be trusted, and that we are all alone in this world. The toxicity of gossip makes our souls sad. And if there is one thing we should pay very close attention to, it's anything that makes us soul sad. Every day, we participate in conversations that could easily turn into gossip if we're not careful. How do we know when a conversation crosses that line? We could put together a list that includes speaking negatively or maliciously about someone, making a person appear incompetent or inadequate, making public what should be kept private, criticizing or lying about a person, and so on. It would be a long list. But gossip it's one of those things, you know it when you see it. It doesn't hurt to have a couple of quick litmus tests at the ready to gain clarity as situations are playing out. Will other people think less of the person you are speaking about if you say what you're about to say? Think about that. Will other people think less of the person you're about to speak about if you say what you're about to say? Would you like someone else to say those things about you? Reason and motive are also very powerful indicators. Why are you saying it? Do you have a valid reason for saying what you're about to say? What is your motive for saying what you're about to say about that person? When you find yourself on the receiving end of evil, you feel ludicrously impotent, because you are. Try to gather up one piece of gossip, just one lie that has been told about you, and you quickly discover how impossible it is to erase gossip from people's hearts and minds. That's the thing about evil. It makes you feel helpless, powerless, impotent. None of us want to feel that way. And so shouldn't we do everything we can to ensure that we don't do something or say something that makes other people feel that way?